Hello everyone, this is Mr. Wizard. Today I'm going to talk to you about keeping bees and making honey. And that'll be a 10-part series I'll be presenting. But before we get into the bees, I would just like to tell you about my latest book, Mr. Wizard Science Secrets, which has over 150 experiments in there that you can do at home. And I think everyone will enjoy this. So if you would like a copy of my book, let me know and I'll get you one. Thank you. Now we'll talk about keeping bees and making honey. And this will be a 10-part series. And the first part, I'm just going to talk to you about bees, different kind of bees in your garden and why they are different. The first one will be the bumblebee. Up here. Now the bumblebee is the one you see in your garden all the time. It flies around kind of slowly. Excuse me. And but it's fairly big and furry. And the reason it has that fur is that in the early spring it's the first bee out, and they need a little extra warmth to keep them warm, basically, and that's why they're furry. Yeah, and the bumblebee lives in the ground, and the colonies are kind of small, about 25, 30 bees are in it. And they live also in old mouse holes in the ground. So if you ever find a mouse hole, there might be a bumblebee in there. And so they are here for the summer and then hibernate in the winter. And they come back in the spring. The other bee is is the wasp I'll talk about next. Now everybody is familiar with the yellow jackets, especially in midsummer and late summer when you're having a picnic and they're flying all over and eating your food. Well, wasps are quite different from bees. And number one, they are what we call carnivores. That means they eat meat. Bees do not eat meat. They just eat honey, basically. And the wasp is also more dangerous because it'll sting you several times. And honeybees will not. So you got to be aware of that when you're out picnicking. Okay, now the next one is the honeybee I'll talk about. And the honeybees come in they grow in large colonies. Sometimes 30,000 or more bees are in the colonies. And their main goal is to collect nectar in the summer, and they convert it to honey, and then they eat the honey over the winter. Now, beekeepers like me, and perhaps you'll be a beekeeper too, we steal the honey from them. But we don't steal it all. We leave enough there so they can eat the honey over the winter. Bees will sting, but their stingers, they can only sting once. Their stinger is lost. So they're careful. They don't sting. They're not going to bother you in general unless you go right into their hive. That's when they may attack you. But if you're standing near it, they won't sting. So those are the three kinds of bees that we'll be talking, and we'll be talking about honey actually later and how to harvest it, and that'll just be the honeybee. So that's the end of my presentation for today, and I hope you learned something, and we'll be teaching you more things about harvesting honey in the future. Have a good day.